What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love After Lockup Season 5, Episode 39, Rules of Engagement. I want to start talking about Kim and Joey, believe it or not. So, Kim and Joey, the reason why I want to start talking about them first is because, y'all, I'm just so disgusted on how Kim is simping for Joey. Absolutely simping for this man, and this man has not done anything for her except drain her bank account. She bought him a phone, she bought him a car, she was putting money on his books. Lord knows how much money she spent into it. Was it like 15,000 or something? I don't know. She spent an ungodly amount of money on this man and she has seen no return at all. So this is what really aggravated me. So in this scene, first of all, Kim tells us that her engagement party to this man is going to cost $2,000. So when I think about how she got upset that he spent $2,200 on rims and tires, I'm thinking you're just as dumb as he is. Why are you spending $2,000 on an engagement party for a man who is not doing anything for you? Okay, he's helping out with your kids. Yes, he's picking them up and he's dropping them off for school. But as far as really making an impact in your life, I don't understand why you're going above and beyond for Joey. I don't care how long you've known Joey. I don't care how far back y'all go before he went into prison. Um, I just don't understand what it is about Joey that is making you simp so hard for him. So the engagement party is going to cost $2,000, which is at least with the rims and the tires. They're going to have a long shelf life. He's going to be using those rims and tires for that car for a while. Your engagement party is going to be over and done in one day. $2,000 out the window for a 1 day event. And the reason why I'm even bringing this up is because you're the one complaining about money. You're the one that's upset that Joey does not understand or does not know how to be financially responsible, but you're blowing 2 grand on an engagement party to a guy like this. So Kim finds out that Joey has been communicating with his ex, for sure. So I think she brought it up when she told him that the ex had reached out to her through Facebook. The ex had sent her a friend request. So then she asked Joey, "Did she send you a friend request?" And Joey was like, "Yeah, of course she did." And I think he said, I don't know if he said that he responded or if he um accepted her request or not. I don't remember, but I do know that the ex had told Joey to download WhatsApp so that they can communicate in private on WhatsApp instead of communicating through Facebook or texting. So she wanted to see their communications. And so she takes the phone from Joey and she's looking through WhatsApp, and they have been talking for quite a while since he's been released. And so she was like, "Oh my God, y'all have been having like conversation after conversation after." She's just scrolling. I mean, it's like an endless scroll of all of their conversations. And she sees that they've also been having conversations when Joey has been in her presence. He's been communicating with this ex. And so she's all like, "What the hell? Like, what's going on here? You're telling her about your day. I have to ask you about your day." And he gets really defensive. Joey gets really defensive and he's like trying to explain to her that nothing is going on. And he storms out the house and she's like, "Well, what about the engagement party?" or something to that effect. And he says, "You know what? Forget about the engagement party. You want the engagement party so bad, you go and attend the damn engagement party. I won't be there. In fact, call me and tell me all about it." He gets in his car and he drives off because he's going to go meet up with the ex for closure. One thing I don't understand is he's in a situation where Kim is not happy that he's communicating with his ex. And what does he do? He goes straight to the ex. I don't know if the ex is going to show up or not, but his intention is to meet his ex girlfriend at some location so that he can have closure, so he can like put an end to their relationship. Joey tells us how before he went to prison, he was talking to this ex, they had a relationship, so on and so forth. And so they also have a history. And so he wants to put this relationship behind him so he can move forward with Kim. Why don't you just block her and not communicate with her anymore? Or just send her a message and say, "Look, I have a fiance. I'm about to get married. I'm sorry, but we can't talk anymore. It's very disrespectful to my relationship." And then block her and quit communicating with her. Why do you have to get into the car that Kim bought you to go meet up with her? Like, I don't understand. So, I mean, I don't want to say boys will be boys, kind of like, giving him a pass on bad behavior. But Kim, you're like in your late 30s, early 40s. You're raising two kids. You were a single mom doing it all on your own, which is amazing. And you're simping for this guy. I don't understand. You're buying him a phone that he's using to communicate with his ex. You bought him a car that he's using to go see his ex with. He's telling you before he leaves that he doesn't even want to attend the damn engagement party, which tells you right there that he has no interest in marrying you. He just needs a place to stay after he was released from prison. I mean, he has a mom. His mom seems to be very much involved with him. I don't know why you just didn't go live with his mom, but you probably begged him to come live with you. So he's really not invested or interested or concerned at all about getting married or the engagement party or any of that stuff. He really could care less. So Cam, you're looking crazy out here in these streets. I'm gonna need you to get some self-worth and some confidence, but that's something that runs very low with the people on Love After Lockup. So let's talk about True. Excuse me. Let's talk about True and Shantae. So True has been out of prison now for 4 months. Where we're at right now is he doesn't know if his parole is going to be revoked and he's going to have to go back to prison. So him and Shantae are on their way to the PO meeting, his meeting with his PO, to find out what are the consequences of him not being at the address that he was supposed to be paroled at. So they get there. He made it there just in the nick of time because everything that True does is always just in the nick of time. And Shantae, did she go in with him? I don't know. I don't remember if she went in with him or not. But luckily, he doesn't have to go back to prison. They're going to put him on house arrest. And after they leave the PO meeting, they go meet up with True's sister in law at a restaurant. So this girl is married to True's brother. So they're sitting at the restaurant and oh, before he even got to the restaurant, sorry y'all, before he even got to the restaurant, as soon as he left his PO meeting, they were talking about where is he going to do his house arrest at. And True says he's going to be doing it at his homegirl Peppa's house. Her name is Peppa. He's going to be doing his house arrest over there. Now, they tell us that he could have done his house arrest at Shantae's house. His girlfriend, his former fiance, the mother of his twins that she's carrying, that he could have done his house arrest at her house, but he did not put down her address. And he gave a reason in his confessional as far as why he didn't. And the reasoning didn't make any sense of why he didn't give them Shantae's address for him to be paroled at. I didn't understand like what he was talking about. It kind of sounded like he was trying to say that Shantae didn't tell him to write down her address, and so he didn't. I don't know. It made no sense to me, which obviously just means that he just wanted to go stay at his homegirl's house for whatever reason. So he's going to be paroled at Peppa's house, and Shantae does not like that at all. She wants to know more about this Peppa girl. So after they leave the PO meeting, they go meet up with True's sister-in-law. I think her name is Kels. They go meet up with her at a restaurant. And while they're sitting there at the restaurant, Shantae is very uncomfortable. True and his sister-in-law, they're kikiing, having a good time, and Shantae is just a stick in the mud. She's not really participating with any of the giggling and the conversations. And so the sister-in-law turns over to her and says, so like what's going on with y'all? Are y'all together? Are y'all not together? And Shantae says, well, we're in a situationship. And then she asked about who is this Peppa girl and how does she come into the picture? And they say that Peppa is just his home. No, Peppa is Kels's homegirl and also friends with True. And so Kels then asks Shantae, well, how are you going to make your relationship work or your situationship work if he's going to be in house arrest in one city and you live in a whole nother city? So True starts to say that, well, Shantae is going to have to move down to where he's at. And he tells Shantae, yeah, you can get an apartment, where I'm going to be living at. Then why can't you just be paroled at her house? If you're going to make her move all the way down to where you're at, which I know Shantae didn't do. I don't think Shantae did that. But if that's what you wanted, then why didn't you just be paroled at her house? I don't understand why she has to do all the ripping and running. Why can't you just have been paroled at her house? If it's good like that and y'all are having these kids together, and because, like I said, they're getting married in real life, supposedly. They're doing lives together online. They're acting like, they're with each other till the very end. So why didn't you just get, done your house arrest at Shantae's house? That like made no sense to me whatsoever. So Shantae isn't really feeling comfortable with him living with this Pepper girl. So we'll see more about that next week. Moving on to Arthur and Hope. So Arthur has only been out 2 months. And so now it's time for him to meet the family. So Shantae is out with her sisters, and Arthur's going to be joining them later. So she's having dinner with her sisters, and they're talking about Arthur, and she tells them the what's up. She met this guy, he did time in prison, now he's out, and he's living with her. Of course, the sisters did not like any of it. They're making fun of him, like how is he going to have a woman take care of him? They were not having it at all. They're asking her, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to be with a guy like that who can't take care of you? So the sisters were not having it at all whatsoever. So later on, we meet the rest of Hope's family, which is her grandparents. Her grandparents come, and Hope says that her family had hopes that she would be with a lawyer or a doctor. This Hope? Y'all thought this Hope with the hot pink hair and the crop tops and the booty shorts? This Hope was supposed to, y'all wanted her to be with a lawyer or a doctor? Okay. So the sisters cannot wait for the grandparents to find out, what Arthur's really all about. So Arthur shows up. She introduces Arthur to everybody. And, she doesn't bring up the fact that he is an ex-felon, that he just came out of prison. So she just really talks about the positive things about him. So the grandfather, Pawpaw, asks, so what do you do, Arthur? And Arthur says that right now he is looking for work, but while he's looking for work, he's also trying to build his own business, which is designing men's clothes. And so then the sisters are like, well, this conversation is boring. It's not interesting enough. Let's liven it up. Let's liven it up a little bit. So one of the sisters says, so Hope and Arthur, where did y'all meet? So Hope has to tell her grandparents that they met while he was in prison. So of course, the grandparents are like, huh? Yes, he was in prison. He did time. The grandfather was asking, what did you do? How much time did you spend? Et cetera, getting all of the information, all the 411 on Arthur's history. And the grandfather says, I am a CEO. I'm a former CEO, and I know how the game goes. So I've heard it all. There's nothing that you can say that's going to, that's going to phase me. I've heard all the lies, all the BS. I know the games that people play who just came out of prison. So the grandfather knows the what's up. Papa knows the what's up. So one of her sisters studied criminal justice. So that sister also knows the what's up when it comes to former felons. So that sister is like, oh, we understand there's like a very high recidivism rate where, inmates end up going back to prison. Why do you think this time is different? What's going to make you stay out of prison this time? And Arthur gives his explanation. He's learned his lesson. He'll never go back. The sisters bring up, well, Hope told us that you had this mental breakdown. And I wonder how Arthur felt, even though his mental breakdown was recorded on this show. There were cameras all around him when he had it. But I wonder how Arthur felt knowing that Hope had told her sisters about his mental breakdown. But anyways, so the sister's like, yeah, Hope told us that you had a mental breakdown. So we need to make sure that you're getting the mental health help that you need. That you're taking care of that you're looking. And he's like, yeah, I'm doing all of that. I'm getting counseling. I really want to be a better person for Hope. And the sister's like, You don't want it. We don't want you to be a better person for Hope. You need to be a better person for yourself. Okay. So they kind of like, lecture him on how he needs to improve for himself, not for Hope or for a relationship, which brings me back to my constant point is that these people who have done serious time in prison, who are in and out of prison, when they come out, and if they feel like, what, I'm turning my life around, I'm not going to run the streets no more, I'm not going to live that old life anymore, they don't need to be in relationships because it's too much for them to worry about them getting better. For example, Arthur needs to make sure that his mental state is where it needs to be. He can't worry about himself and also have to worry about taking care of Hope and making sure that Hope is good. He can only concentrate on himself. They do not need to be in relationships. And yes, I understand how the relationships all begin. They begin in prison because they're lonely. They want companionship. They need money on their books. So they're out there seeking the companionship. And they don't want to look like they're users. So when they come out of prison, they feel like they have to continue these relationships outside of prison because they fed all of these lies and empty promises to these people on the outside about how we're going to get married, I'm going to take care of you, and we're going to be together forever. And so they have to carry on their relationships outside of prison. I understand it's kind of like a double-edged sword, where on the one hand, they need the companionship and the friendship and the assistance and the money. But on the other hand, when they leave, they can't continue these relationships. And then they're going to look like horrible people that were just using these men and these women to give them money or whatever. So look, there's a lot of people who can do time and they don't have pen pals and they don't have these relationships on the outside. There's a lot of people who can do time without all of that. You need to learn how to do that. Do not get into relationships, especially very serious relationships where your partner is expecting to get married, expecting you to move in with them as soon as you get out of prison. No, absolutely no. So Arthur points out to us in his confessional that he didn't like the fact that Hope did not stand up for him when the family was interrogating him and criticizing him and lecturing him. He wanted Hope to stand up for her man and support him and say something in support of him. And I don't know. Arthur, exactly. It doesn't matter what her family thinks. Even if she did intervene and said, oh, but he's really trying. I see him working hard and getting a job, and he's so talented with his clothes design. I know he's going to go somewhere with it. It doesn't even matter. They're going to think what they're going to think. The fact that you have a prison record, that's all they're going to go by. So they're not going to go on your potential. They're going to go on your history, your proven factual history. Moving on to Zara and Troy. Y'all, all this drama with Zara and Troy has happened within 4 days. He's only been out 4 days. And we've had all of this commotion with them. So when their segment starts, Zarea is still really angry at Troy because he's been talking to the mother of his child, and she thinks that there might be something going on there. And the fact that when he stormed out of the house to go take his walk, just to get away from her, he didn't have his phone with them. He was gone for hours. They didn't know where he was. They thought he was missing. So she was mad about that. So he ends up talking her off the ledge. He ends up, calming her down. He tells her to put on her damn ring and that there's nothing going on between him and the ex. He says, I'm not talking to her. We have nothing to do with each other. And I'm sorry for walking out on you and not letting y'all know where I was and not having my phone with me. So she's able to calm down. So she tells him she's going to put her ring back on, but it's only because he's going to promise to do better. Okay, fine. So now they're on their way to Buffalo. She changed her mind about not going to Buffalo. She's decided now that she's going to go to Buffalo because she wants to put up a positive front in front of the family and in front of the ex. She wants to make it look like her and Troy are good. They have no issues. And so she's going to go with them to Buffalo. So Troy, Zarea, and Troy's mother, they're on their way to Buffalo. They get to Buffalo, and his families are his siblings, cousins, etc. They're all there, and they are so happy. They are so happy to see him. I loved that scene of him reuniting with his family. His family was like really, really, really happy to see him. His sister, his cousins, his brothers are all so happy to see him. Now, his sister tells us that Buffalo might be the better place for Troy to actually live, because he's going to be around family. His mom is there, his siblings are there, and also he's going to be closer to his daughter. So the sister wants Troy to stay in Buffalo. And of course, we know that Zariah is not going to go for that. She wants him back in Syracuse with her. So we'll see how that goes. So she was able to calm down this episode and control herself better. Let's move on and talk about Julian and Christine. So Christine is getting ready for her open mic night, right? So she's getting her flyers together to promote her little stand-up routine because she wants to be a stand-up comic. So Julian, he's not really impressed with any of this. He's like, instead of you worrying about open mic night and trying to be, the next Joan Rivers or whatever, I'm going to need you to pick up some more shifts at your job because we got bills that are due. I'm out of a job. I'm running low on my funds and taking care of us. So I'm expecting you to pick up some more shifts. Julian does not play around. He does not play around. He is letting her know, I don't know what you thought this was going to be, but I'm going to need you to contribute heavily financially. Now that I don't have a job, you need to carry us, okay? Carry us both on your back. So Christina's like, okay, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna still go do my open mic night. And he is worried that people are not going to get her humor. He's just worried about her not being successful. He's worried about her embarrassing herself out there. And Christina's like, you're the only one that doesn't think I'm funny. Everybody else thinks I'm hilarious. She talks about how back in high school she was voted most funny. She talked about how her family told her ever since she was a little girl that she needed to be a comedian, a stand-up comic, because she's so funny. She says she got the ladies in prison laughing at her. She had them cracking up. She's like, Julian is the only one that doesn't get my humor. And so we see her doing her open mic night, and she's hoping that Julian will be there in the audience to support her. So we'll see next week if that is actually what happened. So let this woman follow her dreams. Julian, she wants to be a stand-up comic. Support her in her dreams, okay? But Christine, yeah, need to pick up some shifts. Moving on to Leticia and Keith. So Leticia tells us that she's about to break her youngest daughter's heart when she has to tell her that Keith is not coming home soon. So she talks about how her daughter has been so close to Keith. Keith is the only father figure that her youngest daughter has ever known because her biological father is MIA. So it's going to really break her heart that daddy isn't coming home. And so, Leticia paints this picture of Keith practically being father of the year, okay, from prison. This convict, this criminal who's in prison and has, will be in prison for who knows how much long. This man, she wants to paint this picture that he's absolutely the father of the year. He is the best father that her little girl could ever ask for. They have such a close bond, such a close relationship. So she breaks it to her kids that daddy is not coming home anytime soon. He's going to be in prison a little bit longer. The little one starts to cry. The older one could care less. The older daughter, her teenage daughter, has a relationship with her father, so she doesn't really care about Keith. But the little one was crying. And so I was trying to figure out, was there anything that Leticia could have done to prevent, her daughter getting so upset and emotional about Keith not coming home? And so I thought, well, maybe she should not have allowed her daughter to be that close to Keith without really knowing the outcome or him having to spend as much time as he's been in prison. I don't know, but it was really sad and heartbreaking to see the little girl cry that Keith isn't going to be coming home soon because, they thought he was going to be coming home any day now because she was misled by a fake lawyer who was feeding her fake information, someone who really didn't understand the law, and told her that Keith, that his case applied under this special law that was just enacted that would allow certain prisoners to be released ASAP who committed certain crimes during a certain time. So that did not apply to Keith at all. He's going to have to serve the remainder of his time, and he won't be coming out until later on or the end of the year or something. So it was just really sad to see the little girl cry, and I just wish that, this didn't have to happen. But anyway, so yeah, and then she tells her daughter, she drops another bomb on them. She tells them that we're going to have to start moving because she says that the owner of the house was not paying the mortgage. So they're losing the house. So they're going to have to move somewhere else. Now, I had seen online that Leticia, I don't know if she is still in jail or if she bailed out or if the charges were dropped. I don't know. But she had been arrested for the PP loan situation that was running rampant during COVID. When people were getting all of these PP loans, were they calling PP loans? PPP loans? Yeah, PPP loans from the government. So she was falsifying all of these documents, claiming that she had all of these businesses with all of these employees, that she still had to keep on payroll, applying for these loans, and all of it was fraudulent. And so all of that caught up with her, and I think she ended up getting arrested. I don't know if she's still in jail or if that case is still going on, but she definitely got in trouble for those PPP loans that were going on during COVID. She was, defrauding the United States federal government, trying to get money. So, yeah. So I don't know if she's having an issue with her rent because the owner wasn't paying the mortgage or because she wasn't paying her rent. Moving on to Bianca and Daniel. Bianca is still talking with Daniel's family at the bar. And the cousin is explaining, because Bianca asked the cousin, "Why were you telling my man Daniel that you didn't want us to get married? You didn't want him marrying me specifically." And the cousin says, "Well, because I think he was thinking, he was like operating off of emotion and not thinking logically, because y'all have never met in person. So it's kind of weird that he's going to all of a sudden want to be engaged to you and, move in with you as soon as he's released and marry you, and y'all have never had a relationship in the outside world. So that's why I was trying to discourage him from being with you." So the cousin says that he would have been a better support system because he doesn't drink, he's family, and he would have just been a better help and a better support system for Daniel than Bianca, who refuses to give up her drinking and doesn't understand how her drinking around Daniel can affect him negatively. So he's going to be coming out of prison. He's going to be struggling with addiction because when he was in prison, he had relapsed. And so the cousin was telling Bianca, if he relapsed in prison, just think about how easy it's going to be for him to relapse outside of prison. So, yeah, you have to be really careful with him. So he's going to be struggling with addiction, trying to get, acclimated back to society, trying to get his life to. Once again, this man has no business being in a committed relationship with someone, because a relationship with two healthy people who have no baggage is hard. Now you're bringing in all this other stuff from prison, your mental health issues, your addiction issues, all of these things. And you got to take care of this woman and make sure she's happy and keep the relationship going, keep yourself. It's just too much. It's just too much. Don't get into serious relationships after you've done, I would say, about more than 3 years in prison. Just focus on yourself and focus on getting better. So the cousin again asks Bianca, please don't drink around him once he's released. And she's like, well, I don't see anything wrong with me drinking. I won't drink around him, but I'm still going to keep drinking. Now, the family thinks, Daniel's family, they think that Bianca has a drinking problem because she refuses to give up drinking for the sake of helping out Daniel. So it's the day of Daniel's release. She's getting ready to go to the prison for his release. She's upset that his family is going to be at his release. The parents that, I know this is a stepfather. I don't know how long his stepfather's been in his life, but the mother that had given birth to him, raised him. The stepfather too, I guess, at some point had a hand in his upbringing. These people have been with him for years and years and years. She's upset that they're going to be there for his release because she just wanted it to be her and him. There's something wrong with her. There's something wrong with Bianca. The fact that she's not willing to give up drinking and the fact that she's upset that his family is going to be at his release, there's something wrong with her. She said that she just wanted it to be her and Daniel and nobody else. How dare you? How selfish of you, Bianca. I mean, that shows major, major insecurity. Like she feels threatened. Like he might realize, compared to his family, he might realize that maybe she's not all that. Maybe she's not all that. If he stays around, if his family sticks around, I don't know what she's thinking. I have no idea. But it shows like she's seriously insecure about something. The fact that she's upset that his family was there at his own release. Y'all, that's crazy. That's insane. Thank you so much for joining me. I think I've went through them all. I really do appreciate it. On your way. No, I just want to know, am I wrong for thinking that people who have spent time in prison should not really be too focused on starting relationships once they're released and just focus on themselves? Let me know what y'all think. Maybe I am in the minority with that. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Just let me know what y'all think about that. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.